Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our Drupal Cloud track session, Level Up Your Drupal Application with Acquia Product Easter Eggs. My name's Maggie Schroeder. I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager covering the Drupal Cloud at Acquia. And I'm super excited for our session today. We'll be walking through, why Drupal and ultimately why the Drupal Cloud. Then we'll be walking through a story from our customer Red Hat and how they enabled an architect site and built that in just 6 weeks, again, using Drupal and as well as the Acquia Drupal Cloud. And finally, we'll talk about some ways you can go ahead and optimize your Drupal site even further today with Acquia's Drupal Cloud and maybe some hidden Easter eggs you might not have known. And throughout the session, I definitely encourage you to drop questions into the chat, which you'll see on screen. So feel free to do that, and we'll try to engage with you throughout the presentation today to answer any of those questions. Awesome. So without further ado, I'll actually pass it over to some of our presenters today to introduce themselves. So first, Jason, over to you.
Hi there. Thanks for having me, and really appreciate the time to share what's happening at Red Hat. My name is Jason Hibbets. I'm a senior community architect at Red Hat, and we'll be sharing some stories about some community websites we published.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. And next, we'll pass it over to Chico. Chico, care to give an introduction?
Absolutely. So I'm Chico. I'm the product lead on Acquia Cloud. I've been with the company for 9 years in various roles, and I'm really excited to talk about some of the solutions we have today.
Awesome. Thank you both. Cool. So first, I just wanted to walk through a few market trends that we're really seeing impact all of our customers today, and some things that we've been hearing from analysts and, again, customers in the market. So first and foremost, right, there's a new normal for the speed and availability of our digital experiences and how our customers expect them to be delivered, right? We're not just sitting there anymore looking through an encyclopedia and looking up information, right? We want things fast, and we want them delivered to us on demand on whatever platform we want to engage with, right? So there's a new normal for the speed that we need to deliver digital experiences to our customers. And if we look a little bit further into that, right, as we begin to engage more and more online, our customers and ourselves as users of these digital experiences expect our data to be secure, and we expect that data to be used in an appropriate fashion. So again, the security and governance surrounding these experiences that we're creating and ultimately delivering to our customers is becoming more and more important, just because of that customer expectation for data security. And finally, of course, right, as we've seen over the past 8 months or so, we're engaging more and more online as it becomes harder and harder to engage in person. So we need to be able to scale to accommodate growth, whether it comes from something like a global pandemic, or maybe it's just organic growth in general, or growth through acquisition, right? Scale comes from many different sources. And so we need to be able to accommodate that growth as it comes. And so, with that, I'd love to kind of just propose a question, right? So scale, of course, we talked about scale, a little bit about governance and security, and being able to meet our customers' demands. And that also sometimes segues into our customers and our customers' communities as well. And how do we engage with that community in an effective manner? And Jason, you are one of them, we've been speaking for a couple weeks now, and you are an expert at engaging with different communities. I'd love to just hear, quickly before you kick off your presentation. I know we talked a little bit about, why Drupal and why the Drupal Cloud, but I'd love to hear for you, how have you seen, scale and the demand online from the communities that you engage with on a day-to-day? Has that increased or over the past 8 months, or have you seen it stay relatively the same? How has the past 8 months impacted you and Red Hat?
Yeah, so for the community sites that we work with, we've seen tremendous growth across all 4 properties that we'll talk about today. We're seeing more people wanted to contribute, more people want to be a part of the community, and we're seeing high demand on the traffic and a lot of growth on our search engine optimization and search traffic.
Awesome. Yeah, very cool. And I know, you've got a really great story. So I think without further ado, I'd love to kick it over to you to walk us through, the communities that you have created and what that's looked like over the past, time that you've been creating them.
Yeah, well, we've been doing it for about a decade, so we've got a little bit of experience. I first want to talk about the power of community, but before we get there, I want to tell you a little bit more about my role as a community architect. So my role, I'm the product owner for 4 Red Hat sponsored community publications. Those websites are opensource.com, which we've been doing for over a decade. It's your daily dose of open source. It's got everything from open hardware to the latest programming tips and tricks. We've got our Enterprisers project community, which is for our CIOs and IT decision makers. Just celebrated, I want to say, their 6-year anniversary this past September. And we're seeing just tremendous growth there from that community. And then the two I'm going to talk a bit more about today, our newer communities, Enable Sysadmin and Enable Architect, live on redhat.com. And so that's a new territory for us. And we've seen tremendous growth on Enable Sysadmin. And I'll give you some numbers later on. So as the product owner, I'm responsible to work with our Acquia TAM team. We want to make sure that the sites are up and running and secure. And I have no worries over that. We've had some great experiences with Acquia Cloud and our TAM team. I also work with our development partner, Atlantic BT, and they help us do planning. They deploy our Drupal core security updates, features, bugs, and we're actually in the middle of a Drupal 8 migration for Enterprisers project. So that's going to be a lot of fun. In addition, my main role is to develop programs to guide participants to contribute to our knowledge sharing communities. So each of the sites I mentioned allows community members to submit and write articles for each of the various publications. So we attract authors, both new and experienced, from all over the world. And those volunteers basically contribute content and be a part of the community. And without these communities, we wouldn't have this robust and diverse perspective from all over the globe and really a steady flow of community generated content. The contributors get professional editorial services. They get a byline on the respective community publication. And more importantly, we provide an audience for them. So as an example, the Enable Sysadmin site, when a contributor has 3 articles published, they become part of our Run Level 3 club. And when they get to 5 articles published, they're then invited to our Seduer program, which we have 20 people part of that program. And they're essentially our core contributors. And collectively, since we launched, have contributed over 200 articles, which is amazing. So I'll talk more about Enable Sysadmin. Got approval to develop this community in March of 2019. So we've been doing it for just over a year and a half. Our goal was to create a watering hole for sysadmins with great content for sysadmins, but also by sysadmins. And the sysadmin persona is key to Red Hat. These are the people who test and recommend technology to their organizations, but many times they actually lack the purchasing power to procure software, but they do influence the people who make those decisions. We wanted to give the strategic group a platform to learn and to share knowledge. And by being on redhat.com, it's really a testament to our commitment to this group and a hat tip for using Red Hat technologies. Plus a lot of people just think it's pretty cool to have their article published on redhat.com. So we've got that in our favor. So, our decision to use Acquia is pretty easy. Opensource.com and Enterprisers project have been hosted on Acquia Cloud for a number of years. It's stable, it's secure. We've just had a great experience with that. So getting the sysadmin application up and running was really just a matter of contacting our Acquia team and letting them know what our goals about the project were. And the rest of the details really just fell into place. Acquia was ready and willing to help us stand up this new community site. So very helpful there. So we launched Enable Sysadmin in June of 2019. So it took us just a few weeks to get that up and running. Some of the key metrics we use to measure include page views and unique visitors. And so since that launch in June of last year, the community's publication averages 370,000 page views and 240,000 unique visitors per month. And that's starting from zero in just over a year and a half. So I think those are pretty phenomenal numbers. And again, the goal was to have a watering hole for sysadmins, but we also want this audience to learn more about Red Hat technology, but we want to do it without being forceful. So here's how we do that. We provide a natural next step to learn more about Red Hat and for a part of our marketing awareness efforts. There are several areas that I've got some examples here on the screen. On the left-hand side, we've got this little floater widget that pops out on articles and gives people an opportunity to sign up for our newsletter, which we've grown to a couple thousand subscribers. And then on the site here, the arrow pointing down, we have resource menus for certain interest areas of topics of interest. And here it says, more Linux resources, and it provides additional links for people to go to. And then we also include links to other valuable and more importantly, relevant content in body copy that you can see on the right side. Well, this is all well and great, but what's all this talk about Easter eggs? Well, I'm glad you asked. So in July of 2020, so just a few months ago, our team got approval to move forward and build a community publication focused on IT architects. And so why bother with IT architects? Well, as you might expect, it's another key audience for Red Hat and a key persona. But they actually have more decision-making power in purchasing technology. So this was our hypothesis. We can do the same thing that we accomplished for sysadmins, but do it for the IT architect role. So we made some adjustments on our priorities and our teams. We contacted our Acquia TAM team and our development partner, ABT, and we got ready to go because this was all about speed and getting the site up as fast as possible. The first thing we do, we had one really big decision to make, and that was, do we build the site from scratch, or do we look at converting the Enable Sysadmin project to a Drupal multi-site? And so we knew we wanted the same functionality with different content, with different authors, of course, and a different name, Enable Architect. And so I've long known about Drupal multi-sites. Thank you, DrupalCons. But I never thought that I'd get to use and deploy one, right? So here's my chance. So we had a consultation meeting with our TAM team and our dev team, and about a week and a half, it took us about a week and a half to get a working local environment with config files ready for deployment. So within less than a month, we had a fully functional Drupal multi-site operating in Acquia Cloud in our dev and staging environments. So that speed is really what made the difference for us. We officially launched Enable Architect on September 15th. And we did that with lots of excitement in a variety of stakeholders, and more importantly, a new audience. And so to wrap up my portion of the story today, getting a community site like this up and running is no easy task. It literally takes a village. The first key to this success was to start building the community and content strategy kind of in parallel while we're doing site development. And thankfully, we had a person who was dedicated to that role on our team. That wasn't me, thankfully. I have enough to do getting the sites up and running. Second, we work really closely with a lot of other teams at Red Hat. We worked with our IT and InfoSec teams to make sure the site was secure and we had all the things we needed from an infrastructure standpoint. Worked with our brand team to get naming approval, our legal team for community guidelines, and our marketing operations team to make sure we had all the back-end analytics tools and so forth. And third, we worked with our Acquia TAM team and our development partner, and we were able to make quick technology decisions and pretty much rapidly prototype our assumptions. So this is how we went from concept to launch in about 6 weeks, with core site functionality deployed in about 3 weeks, ready for the content and ready for testing. So I think with that, I'll hand things over to Chico to reveal a few more Easter eggs that you may not know about.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Jason.
Oh, sorry, Chico. Actually, if you don't mind me, I just wanted to actually make a quick comment. I think like a month turnaround. I mean, that's huge, Jason. And I also, selfishly, I'll point out September 15th is my birthday. So I don't know if you did that on purpose. I don't know if I've told you that before, but pretty cool. So anyway, I did want to follow up with one question for you, Jason. I know that you mentioned, that for that community, right, that you had recommended content that was a little bit more subtle than you'd typically see on, just any given site. And that's because you wanted to really curate that community. I guess for anyone in the audience who's thinking about creating, a community experience or experience for their customers, I guess what other recommendations would you give them when thinking about creating community and that kind of experience?
Yeah, quickly, that there's one of the comments mostly for all 4 of the sites is that they're ad-free. And so we are really focused on delivering a highly readable, website and content. And, we're big fans of give the reader what they want. And we're not forcing things that don't feel right. And that's, I think, a key to our success is we give the reader what they want, and we're seeing the results in the numbers.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Jason. And Chico, I will now pass it over to you. Sorry to interrupt before.
Oh no, that was well worth it. So yeah, let's talk about some of the other benefits of Acquia features that are a little bit lesser known, but very impactful for our customers, developers especially. So one of the lesser known and lesser utilized features that we've been releasing over the past year is the Acquia Cloud Platform CDN. There's a lot of really great benefits here in terms of performance and resiliency. Essentially with our regional infrastructure, we can serve content quickly to your end users, in that region very, very quickly. But if you have users that are outside of your primary region, you'll really want to take advantage of Acquia Cloud Platform CDN. This will make sure that you're being served by over 60 points of presence around the world to make sure content gets delivered really fast to your end users. And it also helps provide some level of protection against traffic spikes and any attempts at an attack. So it's a great new feature that we've been releasing this year. It's private right now, but we'll be releasing it to everyone very soon. Please make sure to reach out to your account manager if you're interested in taking advantage of this functionality. All right, now let's talk about Acquia Search. Now, some of the best customer experiences or end user experiences with Drupal happen because of Acquia Search. Now, we've been using Acquia Search for years, providing it to our customers and giving them the ability to add faceted search functionality to their sites. It improves the overall user experience and makes it easier to find important content. But now our Acquia Search product is powered by Solar 7. So it's able to take advantage of the advances in solar technology. It's more performant, more resilient than our previous search iterations. We again are releasing this now, and we want customers to start taking advantage of it as soon as possible. Again, to improve the overall search experience for your Drupal site and better engage with your end users. Now, this one is very near and dear to my heart. So I actually started in Acquia support 9 years ago. I've worked on over 1,000 different customer issues, and I can't tell you how many times I had to go to New Relic to help diagnose performance or just diagnostic problems on Drupal sites. This can save obscene amounts of time and help significantly improve site performance. The ability to go in and see why sites are slow, to identify this problematic code, Drupal queries, database queries, external calls. So, if you're really looking for ways to improve the performance of your site, add monitoring, add resiliency, take advantage of our New Relic Pro APM partnership. It's available in the UI. All customers have access to it. And New Relic has a slew of additional features like uptime monitoring, browser monitoring, and the like that even further improve your performance. So be sure to take advantage of that. It's available right now for all customers. Cloud IDEs. We've recently released these. This is a new way of building and testing Drupal sites without having to necessarily go onto Acquia Cloud's user interface. So you can spin up Cloud IDEs via our API. It just spins them up in the cloud. It saves you the difficulty of having to create local dev environments and configure those things and get them up and running. You can go in, you can code programmatically, you can see the results instantly on a test URL. And you can even give access to the URL to other stakeholders who want to see the impact of the work that you're doing. So again, what we're doing now is we're going to make one of these available to all customers. We want you to take advantage of them. And if you think you're interested in having more for your team, please reach out to your account manager. And we're happy to help you out there. And finally, Site Studio. Now, this one's a great that we've been rolling out to our customers over the past year, formerly known as Cohesion. This functionality makes it much easier for your stakeholders in the organization, especially marketing, to create campaigns on the site using click and drag functionality, real-time editing, what many would call WYSIWYG. It's a far more advanced, far more simplistic site management experience. We strongly recommend that you give it a shot. It'll significantly reduce the time to value on your sites when creating new ones, or again, just creating one-off page campaigns. It saves you from having to go in and do a lot of code and CSS and the like. So feel free to check it out. Again, reach out to your account manager. We're really looking forward to you taking advantage of all these cool new features.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chico. So that actually brings us to the end of our presentation. Please feel free to drop any last questions in the chat. And just know that all of these Easter eggs are available to you today as part of your Acquia Cloud subscription if you are a customer with us. But otherwise, this is it for us today. Thank you for joining and have a good rest of your Engage.